this morning we continue our discussions and we are talking all things politics as we shift gears to all that is happening. This morning we have the privilege of chatting online with my guest. We are talking this morning with political leader of the NTA, Mr. Gary Griffith. Good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Good
How are you?
morning. Great to have you here again. Now, there are a lot of things that are happening in this space. We heard yesterday that you would have denounced one of the statements made by the opposition leader, Kamala Persad-Bissessel, when she said that the presentation made by the Prime Minister in Barbados at that CARICOM conference was basically just a political PR gimmick. And you said that statements like that are really detrimental towards crime fighting initiatives that would be effective as we look at serious crime, specifically gun related crime and violence, and particular acts being looked at as terrorism. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why her statements were a bit dangerous?
Well, certainly, good morning to you and to your many viewers. To start with, you want to be the next Prime Minister, and your first comment is to attack and discredit CARICOM. So you might very well be a Prime Minister in the same CARICOM where you refer to all of the CARICOM leaders as taking nothing part in a PR gimmick. She's not thinking straight. That can't be logical. That cannot be leadership. You want to be part of CARICOM, but you're attacking CARICOM and saying that they are part of a PR gimmick. I think that is blatant disrespect to each and every CARICOM leader, blatant disrespect to every single country in CARICOM, and shame on you, Kamala Persad-Bissessel. As it pertains to the issue itself, to say that it is a PR gimmick, the concept, I said this a year at an anti-crime talk simple between with the UNC and the NTA. And when I said it then, she didn't have a turn. So it shows somehow politicians shift the goalposts when it conveniently benefits them. Because I said then that whereas in other countries, sometimes we always felt that terrorism is one only with a radical religious belief. That is no longer the case. You'll see it in North America on a number of occasions where persons are involved in mass shootings. It's known as internal terrorism. Anyone who has a deliberate attempt to cause violence, intimidation, even with an intent to do so, that is terrorism on citizens. And if that is the case, if someone has an assault weapon that can kill 35 persons in 3 seconds, it means that that person has the capability and the intent to cause harm to 35 citizens in 3 seconds. That should be deemed an act of terrorism. And if that happens, it takes away the plan where certain attorneys in the UNC utilize the flaws in our justice system to get gang leaders and gang members out on bail within a few minutes, caught with these type of firearms, and they go back out onto the streets to purchase more firearms to put hits on people who sold them out. But if it is we find we changes into terrorism act, just taking away the part of for political purpose, it means that if at any time we hold these persons, they will be incarcerated, there will be no bail, they will be there for life. The persons who assisted them in providing that weapon will also be incarcerated. That is what we need. I remember as a commissioner, we held an individual with 10 assault weapons, which meant that if he had 10 friends, they could kill 350 persons in 3 seconds. And the judge sent this man on $50,000 bail and he went back out onto the streets. That is what caused the problem, not the citizens, not the police, the flaws in the justice system. So if CARICOM has come up with something as dynamic as this, we should applaud and welcome it. Why would anyone reject this unless, of course, you are sympathetic to the criminal elements?
Totally understood. And so, has things like this and statements of this nature turned your mind away from any ideas of having a coalition with the UNC? Because previously we saw that there was work being done where you had previously supported the UNC. So tell us a bit about the things that would have led to you making that shift.
Yeah, sure. It's twofold. The first has to do with exactly what you just said. I work on principle. I was fired as a Minister of National Security because I challenged my own government based on live sport, based on being pressured to try to influence me not to speak the truth in a court matter. I don't need a job. I was fired as a commissioner of police virtually for the same thing. I was not going to be pressured to arrest people illegally and unlawfully. That is the way I stand. When I put my hand on a Bible, it is based on remembering my oath and my call of duty to my God, my country, and my people. No one can influence me. So when it is that I set my tone to ensure that I can make Trinidad and Tobago safe again, I am going to have very serious problems working with another political party whose has a senior politician there who was very instrumental in giving tens of millions in state contracts to criminal elements, even to build police stations. Is it that we work with you? That is what is going to happen again. Is there going to be more live sport, more Colombi Orange, more Rishmi Ramnarines, more getting rid of Dwayne Gibbs because he was doing too much to reduce crime? I have a problem with that. I have a problem if it is you have individuals. When I was a minister and a commissioner, doing everything possible to have persons arrested when they broke the law, and then the next day you have people who are attorneys doing their best to get them released. And now you have these individuals that could very well be in your National Security Council if you become government. And then you have other individuals who are romantically involved with criminal elements. So there's going to be a conflict of interest. So unless they can prove to themselves that they are not a criminal unit fronting as a political party, I have serious concerns working with a body like that. And this is not the UNC I'm attacking. It is the leadership, the hierarchy, the individual who is handpicking these individuals to run the UNC. That is my problem. The second has to do with what is known as political domestic violence. In 2010 to 2015, the Congress of the People, the MSJ, NJAC, and TOP from Tobago, they were used by the UNC. The UNC got their 21 seats and they spat them all out. Tobago rejected the UNC for it. Tobago will never forget it. In fact, Kamala Prasad Visesa put a dagger in the heart of Fali Augustine by stating that if he gets his 2 seats or whatever, she would like to consider forming a coalition with him. The poor lad just probably lost about 5,000 Tobago votes just by her stating that, because Tobago wants to have nothing to do with the UNC, and rightly so. So they saw the political domestic violence, which is what Kamala Prasad Visesa is trying to do now. So you would have seen political parties such as the PEP and Love Movement. No one knows one other person in that party other than the leader. They've never had a meeting. They do not know who they are, how they were appointed, their support. They never even got back a deposit in their life in any election they took part in. But she has these people around her. She wants these yes people. There's also the Congress of the Prakash, aka Congress of the People, where all these one-man parties you're bringing in, hoping that you could get the floating voters in these bridge constituencies to vote for your candidates in the marginal seats, so you could have a 21-seat UNC government, to the point of even telling them, come under my umbrella, go up for PNM seats that you can never win, but you have to go under a UNC symbol. That is past the stage of political domestic violence. And the NTA, I intend to represent that 148,000 who voted for the COP in 2007, and the young persons between the ages of 17 to 35 who never had a chance for a third choice since 2007. And those people we intend to represent. And we have no intention for them to be used by Kamala or anyone else to get a UNC government, and then we do not have any part in the representation. No, if it is we are not represented, you're not getting that support.
And what do you say to the persons who say that this move that you have made to now form your own coalition, that we'll talk about a bit in a moment, can be detrimental to the election, in that you might just be splitting that opposition vote and handing the election back over to the PNM?
I still wait one day for somebody to tell me what is the meaning of a split vote. A vote is a vote. You don't have half a vote or a quarter of a vote. So how could you split a vote? Every vote is the right of every citizen of this country. No vote belongs to Gary Griffith, the NTA, Keith Rowley, the PNM, Kamala, or the UNC. None. The vote belongs to the citizen. So anyone who has the audacity to tell people that you're splitting the vote, you are basically telling the citizen that vote, once it is you don't vote for the PNM, you have a right to vote for the UNC. You're fastened out of place. It is the right of citizens to vote for whoever they want. And so by stating a split vote, shows that you have no respect for persons, and you believe that anybody who is against the PNM, you are obligated to vote for the UNC. Not so, which is why the UNC, after 36 years, have never won any election on their own when a third party is involved, because they do not have that support outside of their base in Deep South and Central. They need the support of those third parties. That is why in 1981, 1991, and 2007, those third parties acquired over 100,000 plus votes. And it shows the strength and the support. What we do decides the outcome of the election. And let me quickly add, to explain what you spoke about it could help the PNM. Think of it as there's a car race, and there are 3 different organizations with cars. And the first and second car are the powerful cars. But the second car does not have the technology to be able to assist to beat the first car. The third group has it. And we may have the technology, but we don't have the mass support and finances. What you are saying is that the second organization is telling the third organization, look, you really can't win. So what you need to do, Give us all your people, all your resources, all your manpower, all your technology. Give us everything. Put it under our organization so that we can win and beat the first car and disband the third organization. That can't work. That can't be right. You are saying that because we may be bigger than you, you must give us everything that you have, discard what you have so that we could become stronger to beat the PNM. That is madness. So my point is, unless you respect us and recognize us, don't expect us to give you what you need, because without us, they cannot win, and they know that. They do not have a snowball chance in hell. It reached the point that even in 2001, Ramesh Maraj had such a mediocre party that got just 188 votes in Tunapuna, and it caused the UNC to lose that seat. And from 1917, it became 1818, and a government collapsed because of that one party with 188 votes. That is the strength of that third party. The NTA, my God, I wish to assure you, we are much bigger than that Ramesh Maraj party. So what we do is going to dictate the outcome of the election. But do not feel that I am going to be pressured, similar to what Prakash Ramada did, where the COP was virtually sold out, and it moved from 148,000 votes in 2007 to up to 467 votes in 2020. He destroyed the COP because he didn't stand firm for what he believed in. I am going to stand firm. You need our support. You need our strength. Give us that respect. Don't expect we are going to just shut down all our business, give it to you so that you could be the PNM. That is not what the third party, the British constituency, is there for.
Understood. And we're going to talk a bit about that coalition that you are forming that is going to be launched on March 12th. But we're going to take a quick break right here and we'll be back right after this. See you soon.
Greetings, everyone. I am Miss Kersha Kent, the reigning Miss Women Afro Queen 2023. Come along on this journey to see who will be crowned Miss Women Afro Queen 2025.
9 delegates are set to compete for the...
So wake up and and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. This morning we have been speaking with the political leader of the NTA, Mr. Gary Griffith, and we have been talking about the coalition that he will be forming well, I think it's formed already, but that would be launched on March the 12th. Now, we are seeing here a coalition with Honesty, Opportunity, Performance and Empowerment, which is HOPE, as well as the Community Reformation Network. Now, I'd like you to tell us a bit about these organizations and how this coalition came about and why it's so important to partner with such organizations.
Well, again, it's not the name National Transformation Alliance, that word alliance. That's what we will continue to do. Try to embrace and unify different parties, different organizations, if they have the same principles and ideologies of the National Transformation Alliance. As it is at this time, the UNC does not have such ideologies and principles, so they are not on the chart unless, of course, the political leader is removed or she changed her ways to the way we knew Kamala in 2010. And there are others that we will continue to have conversations with. So it's not to say that there's a coalition per se. Let us not get ahead of ourselves. What it is that there's a lot of communication that is taking place. There's dialogue, and there's still time. But before we get anything cemented, it's not going to be a cosmetic grouping such as what Kamala did, and then have a press conference and then bring in political leaders and then say there's a coalition of Kamala's interests. That is what it is. It was a coalition of Kamala's interests. That's not what this is about. This is not a coalition for the interests of Gary Griffith, the NTA, HOPE, or anybody. This is a coalition to try to unify persons with the same principles and ideologies to ensure good governance. That is what this is about. This is not about just getting in government, but making sure we have the principles that are required to ensure good governance. Removing the PNM, being there, done that. And we'd have seen what transpired in 2010 to 2015, where even Tobago rejected the People's Partnership when they were part of that government. And rightly so, because the Tobagonians, they are very, very headstrong persons. They are very disciplined. They stand on principle, and no political party owns Tobago. Whereas in Trinidad is quite different. There are certain places that you could put anyone. You could put Barack Obama for a seat in Laventille. You're not going to win that PNM seat. You put Barack Obama for a seat in Sipari, you're not going to win that UNC seat. That's the way it is in Trinidad. Tobago is very different. Tobago, if it is you don't provide, you don't deliver, you don't respect, you don't serve, you're going to get thrown out. So hats off to Tobago on that. I'm trying my best to hope that Trinidad voters can understand the same thing. Stop believing that an area or constituency belongs. This is PNM or UNC country. Thankfully, those floating voters, which is what we are taking part in, getting that coalition of persons who are not PNM or UNC till they die. And nothing is wrong with that. If you feel that your political leader could walk around naked downtown and you still want a right to vote for them, that is your right. That is your business. That is your principle. There are, however, 150,000 persons who are not PNM or UNC till they die. Those are the persons I intend to make sure we represent and not have them used similar to what Prakash Ramadan allowed to take place in 2010 to 2015 that caused a political party to move from 148,000 votes in 2007. 13 years later, they moved to 467. You lost over 147,000 votes because of bad management, poor leadership, and basically selling out to the UNC. We have no intention to do that.
Totally understood. And again, why is it important for groups like this and other groups who might be interested to come on board with what the NTA is doing for this election come this 2025?
Excellent. And it has to do with the importance of unifying Trinidad and Tobago. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, look at the people she has put around her. She has selected an individual who has referred to women as the B word. He stated that all persons who support the PNM should burn, similar to what happened to a member of parliament, calling people canal conk, latrine rats. Every comment he makes is to attack, destroy, discredit, and demonize people. That is who you want as your right hand. It says so much about you, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, and your personality and your character, because it means that when you get in government, you're going to have somebody just like this being vindictive, manipulative, nasty, and then he goes into parliament with parliamentary privilege now, so that he's been sued left, right, and center. That is not what we want. That is Kamala's style of politics. Bring people around, whether you call them social media prostitutes, attack, demonize, and destroy people. I have no intention to do that. I know what it is to have an enemy. I've worked with the British Army against the IRA in the United Kingdom. I was the youngest officer to serve my country during the attempted coup. There were 43 death threats on myself as Commissioner of Police fighting crime to protect citizens of this country. I was the first Trinidad and Tobago citizen to return home with a United Nations peacekeeping medal fighting for democracy in Haiti. I know what the enemy is. The enemy is not the PNM, it is not the UNC. The enemy are those people who try to destroy our democracy. So the importance of this is to bring some degree of unification back to Trinidad and Tobago. Politicians have deliberately divided Trinidad and Tobago for their own agenda. The latest has been to use race. Everything now, if West Indies lose a cricket match, is because you don't like Indian people. If something happens, it's because you don't like Indians. If that you're a political leader and that is the race talk you're going to push on an agenda to make sure you mobilize your base, that only causes division. My intention is to unite Trinidad and Tobago regardless of political affiliation, ethnic composition, geographical location, your finances. It is irrelevant. My job is to unite, to build, and to be productive. Other political parties, such as Kamala, their job is to divide, to destroy, and to attack. The country will need to decide.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time again this morning and always being open to chatting with us here on Tobago Updates. And we wish you nothing but the best in the upcoming election, as well with your coalition and the teams that you are working with and others who would continue to come on board during this election season. Again, we want to say thank you so much. As we want to thank you, our viewers, for viewing this morning. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have done and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Shenell Felix, and thank you.